Today, I'm going to share with you 4 key scientific causes of aging and some of my positive aging methods that I use with my patients in my medical wellness practice. I'm Dr Jonquille Chantrey, surgeon and published expert in positive aging and aesthetic medicine. Of course, anti-aging language has been popularised by beauty standards, advertising narratives, and decades of messaging, telling people, especially women, that their value is tied to their appearance. But I want to show you something far more powerful about aging. Understanding how aging actually operates at a cellular level across the whole body. Long before lines or sagging shows on your skin, aging's already been happening internally, and there's 2 forces that shape it. Intrinsic aging is your internal rhythm written into your genes and your genetics. You might have heard of things like telomere shortening, obviously hormonal decline, and mechanisms that slow cellular repair. Conversely, extrinsic aging, these factors are your environment and your lifestyle choices, things you're exposed to every day, like UV, pollution, your diet choices, stress, sleep deprivation, inflammation, and smoking. The majority of what people call aging is actually accelerated by these daily inputs that influence the genetic intrinsic factors. And scientifically, aging is defined by 13 published hallmarks. These are the core mechanisms that drive how our cells deteriorate or adapt over time. They apply to your whole body and not just your skin. Today, I'm focusing on 4 of these hallmarks in a way to help give you agency about your daily choices. You might have heard of all of them being discussed in different longevity content, but been unsure as to what they actually mean. And more importantly, let's look at tips on how you can influence these aging causes. Firstly, UV, pollution, inflammation, and internal oxidative stress all create small errors in your DNA, and genomic instability is the accumulation of DNA damage over time, because the repair systems can't keep up with this DNA damage buildup. This affects how cells divide, repair, how they replace themselves, and how well they respond to stress. It influences everything from skin texture to immune resilience and to recovery. Now, I know it sounds scary, but here are some of the practical ways that I support my patients. Daily UVA and UVB protection with SPF reduces UV-induced DNA damage. I really recommend topically active vitamin C and antioxidant-rich medical-grade skincare. These protocols can support the repair of DNA. I also recommend a balanced diet that's high in polyphenols, and I personally use blueberries and green tea. And herbs like rosemary can reduce the oxidative stress that's on your DNA. And of course, sleeping well is crucial to DNA repair. And reducing exposure to pollutants by cleansing your skin properly after being outdoors. It really helps to remove the pollution molecules that drive this oxidative damage. And you know what? No, a face wipe or a cream cleanser that you wipe off with a cloth just isn't enough. Telomere shortenings is next. So telomeres are the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes. They shorten each time a cell divides. And when they become too short, the cell stops dividing or it becomes dysfunctional. Practically, this affects skin firmness, it affects wound healing, immune function, and our energy. This telomere shortening accelerates and speeds up with chronic inflammation, with things like stress, again smoking, poor diet, and unstable blood sugar. To support your telomeres, stabilize your blood sugar patterns by avoiding high glycemic loads and sugar spikes. And when you do have carbs, try to pair them with protein. Regular movement, even at moderate intensity, is linked to longer telomeres. Prioritize antioxidant-rich foods like leafy greens and, again, berries. Regulate cortisol through consistent sleep timing and patterns, and introduce some slow breathing throughout your day consciously. And please try to avoid smoking. It's one of the strongest aging accelerators of telomere loss. And I've noticed that there's some concerning evidence that in the Gen Z groups, there's been an increased fashion in smoking. The third hallmark you might have heard of being discussed in longevity content is mitochondrial dysfunction. So mitochondria are your cellular energy centers. They power everything from collagen production, muscle repair, brain function, and heart health. As mitochondria decline, they produce less energy, and they make more reactive oxygen species. These are the molecules that you need your antioxidants for to fight. And you feel this before you see it. You'll feel lower energy, slower recovery, and you'll see reduced radiance. To improve mitochondrial performance, strength training increases mitochondrial density, and cardio and aerobic exercise improves mitochondrial efficiency. And again, polyphenol-rich foods, they reduce mitochondrial oxidative stress, so things like dark berries, adding fresh turmeric to your food, and taking in citrus fruits. What about topical skincare? So vitamin A-derived retinoids like tretinoin cream have been shown to support mitochondrial function in skin cells, giving them more energy. And really importantly, avoiding chronic overeating is crucial. So eating higher calories than you need in the long term, because excess energy overloads your mitochondria. All right, so we're almost there. The final cause of faster aging that I'm focusing on today is something called cellular senescence. These are cells that have stopped dividing, but they still remain active. They release inflammatory molecules that damage the cells that are sitting around them. And these senescent cells accumulate. They accumulate in fat, muscle, skin, and all of our organs as we age. And this increases inflammation. It slows repair and it accelerates the overall aging of all of our tissues. It's one of the most important hallmarks because it amplifies and impacts the others. There's ways to influence this as well. Omega-3 intake from fatty fish and algae oil reduces these inflammatory signals from senescent cells. Again, consistent physical activity, it helps clear these damaging cells and supports healthier turnover. Again, I love retinols and retinoid creams. Retinoid creams like tretinoin that you can have prescribed from a medical skin expert also helps this process. And I also recommend skin barrier protective skincare for my patients. So things like with ceramides, fatty acids, and niacinamide to reduce the external triggers that drive these senescent cells. And we know that minimizing chronic stress is absolutely essential because sustained cortisol increases the load of this inflammation across all of our tissues. Understanding these scientific causes gives you a totally different relationship with aging. One that's actually grounded in proper biology, not fear or marketing. You don't need to change everything overnight because I believe that that just isn't sustainable. But we can start to understand what genuinely moves the needle. Introducing small, consistent actions like the ones I've shared today that support your DNA stability, your telomeres, and your mitochondria can meaningfully impact inflammation, and shift how you age across your whole body, not just your skin. And as a thank you for being here, you can redeem an exclusive 15% discount on the One Dermafacial and a complimentary skin consultation with my team at One Aesthetic Studio. As a proactive step to help your skin cell turnover and positive cellular stimulation, and this results in smoother, brighter skin for your overall skin health. Simply follow the link in the show notes and enter the code DNA15 at checkout. If you found this useful and want more science-led self-empowerment, please subscribe, like, and share with someone you care about. Together, we're redefining how we age, look, live, and feel. I'm Dr. Jonquille Chantrey, and this has been Ageless.